Today, we're going to talk about choosing joy over fear and living from love instead of worry. Now, I know we've talked about fear before, and sometimes we think that we're not making choices out of fear, but fear is a sneaky thing. It hides in our thoughts, it hides in our choices, and even the plans that we make for our future. Fear whispers to us, play it safe. Don't take any risks. Don't step out. Don't do anything different. But when we choose fear, what we're really doing is unintentionally blocking out joy. Fear and joy cannot share the same space in our hearts. And fear keeps us focused on all the things that could go wrong, whereas joy can open us up to what could go beautifully right. And fear is loud. It's a survival mechanism. Our critter brain lives on fear. It wants to keep you safe. But you can't be safe and grow at the same time. And when you're making choices based on fear, then you're making choices to avoid pain, to avoid discomfort, rather than pursuing the things that will bring us life. We stay in situations that make us feel smaller, we hold back, and then we delay our dreams. All because fear or our critter brain is convincing us that it's safer. But fear is rarely going to lead us to the life that we really want. And it shows up in a number of ways, and maybe some ways that you hadn't really thought of. It shows up in the decisions that you make in your everyday choices. And the choices you make either move you closer to your healthiest life or they keep you stuck. So first, there's the feeling of empty. You avoid hunger at all costs. And I used to do that. I was afraid of being hungry. And I was also afraid of being emotionally empty. And I believed that food would be able to fill that emptiness, the physical and the emotional emptiness. But eating past fullness actually made that feeling of emptiness even bigger. And it left me feeling frustrated with myself. And then there's the fear of disappointment. That story that you've told yourself over and over again that you're broken, that there's something wrong with you. And if I try again and fail, it's just going to be unbearable. And then it's proof that the story that you've told yourself is true. And so fear convinces you to not try at all. And then there's the fear of depletion or running out of energy. You feel like you've got to save your energy until you're ready. And so you put off action until some other day when it won't feel so hard. And the problem is that day rarely, if ever, comes. And then there's the fear of exposure. You might be afraid of new experiences. You avoid them. You avoid public spaces. You avoid social events because you're worried about being judged, about being noticed, about being unable to keep up with everybody else. And then this keeps you missing out on that life that you really want to create. And finally, there's the fear of not knowing enough. And this is just some examples, it's not exhaustive. You might spend more time journaling, researching, and planning rather than taking action because you're hoping to find the perfect plan or find the perfect moment before you start. And the truth is, there's never going to be a perfect plan and there's never going to be a perfect time. Even the healthiest of people do not follow a perfect plan. And all of these fears keep you locked in a cycle. You keep overthinking, you avoid, and you don't take action. And then they block your joy. The very joy that would make your journey feel meaningful and would give you life. There's a Bible verse that says, perfect love casts out fear. Love is more powerful than fear. And when we can root ourselves in the perfect love, the kind that reminds us that we're safe, that we're cared for, that we're never alone, then fear starts to lose that hold on us. Love can shift our focus from what if I fail to what if this brings me joy? Love makes room for joy to come back into our lives. And when we allow ourselves to feel joy, then we start making different choices. So I want you to choose joy on purpose. Joy isn't just a feeling, it's a daily choice that you get to make. It's like asking yourself, will this decision that I'm making expand my joy or shrink it? If I wasn't afraid, would I still choose this? What would bring me peace, freedom, and satisfaction right now? And don't tell me that the cake would bring you satisfaction. Yes, it might bring you satisfaction right now, but is that cake going to bring you peace and freedom as well? And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having some cake. Cake is normal. That's part of life. But if you are choosing foods based on fear, that's when it becomes the problem and that becomes the habit. And that's what's keeping you from joy and living the life that you really want to live. So we need to start making choices and decisions through the filter of joy, not fear, so that we can live the fulfilled life that we want to live. So instead of avoiding being hungry, think of eating as an opportunity to nourish your body with a meal that is going to give you life. And instead of avoiding the scale, think of the scale as just one tool that's going to measure your progress. And then celebrate your growth and celebrate the momentum. Look at other progress markers other than just the scale. And instead of saying, yeah, I'm going to do this later, I want you to take one small action every day, a little action that is going to move you a little bit closer to your goal. Prove to yourself that you don't have to wait until you feel good in order to feel good. So here's some practices that you can try. First off, I want you to pause and notice. When you're feeling stuck, when you're feeling anxious or hesitant, take a deep breath and then name the fear that is showing up. That's key because you can't fix what you don't know needs to be fixed. And then shift into love. Remind yourself that perfect love casts out fear. Imagine being surrounded by love, being safe, being seen, being supported. And then you get to choose joy. What choice is going to lead you closer to that pure joy? And then you take a small step in that direction, even if it just feels tiny. Over time, as you know, these small steps are going to build the habit of living from joy instead of from fear. And when you choose joy over fear, you don't just feel better, you become more aligned with who you truly are, with the person that you really want to become. Fear keeps us small. It makes us shrink. It keeps us from reaching our goals. Joy makes us shine. And your light, when fully lit, is going to inspire others to choose joy as well.